Good afternoon, you wee bastards, and welcome back to World of Warships with Koala. And yes, don't check your monitors. That is a cruiser. It must have been 6 months or more since I featured a cruiser replay on the channel. And that is partly my fault, because twice in the last few World of Warships videos I've uploaded, I've talked about how much I love American battleships. So 3 guesses what 90% of the replays I've received in the last few months have been. Holy shit. And I do like American battleships, both in real life and here in World of Warships. And from my perspective, it seems like you lads do as well. Because as soon as I said in my previous videos, ooh, a US Navy battleship. I do like the US Navy battleships. I was flooded with Montana, Iowa, Massachusetts, New Mexico and Georgia replays, and nothing else. So it was nice to see this battle sent in by the Grey Ghost in the Tier 10 light cruiser USS Worcester. Actually, there were several other replays sent in, mostly in the new Swedish destroyers, but I picked this one and here we are. The Grey Ghost didn't actually send me a replay file, instead he sent me a link to the video of this match uploaded on the official World of Warships replays channel on YouTube. See, another thing I've said in the past is that what often ends up happening is a really good match I wanted to feature ends up being out of date by the time I try to load it up and record it. And that's one of the problems featuring replays. As soon as World of Warships releases even the most minor patch, you generally can't load up any old replay files anymore. Instead, we got the video, which is why you saw a picture of the real-life USS Worcester in the thumbnail. I realise I could have just gone into a few Tier 10 matches hoping to see a Worcester on the friendly team and screenshotted that for the thumbnail, but, well, I didn't. It is what it is. The Worcester class were designed right at the end of World War II as anti-aircraft cruisers, and they're actually the sister ships, or sister class, of the Des Moines heavy cruisers. The Worcester class was meant to comprise 10 ships, although only 2 were ever built, USS Worcester and her sister ship USS Roanoke, and like the Des Moines, they were completed in the late 1940s, making them together the last gun-focused cruisers of the US Navy. After that was all guided anti-ship missiles and nuclear power plants. The design of the Worcester class differed from preceding light cruiser designs like the Cleveland in that she had twin turrets rather than triples, and the class was actually designed more as a successor to the Atlanta class than the Cleveland. Now the Worcesters weren't very well liked, at least by the higher ups in the US Navy, because they couldn't actually pump out even as many rounds as the Des Moines could, although that's not a problem here in World of Warships, with the Worcester having about a second's advantage in reload time with her 6-inch guns, as the Des Moines 8-inch guns. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, because it isn't, but Worcester does bring a couple of other tricks to the table, which we're going to talk about in a minute. For now, the Grey Ghost is parked alongside this island, and I think he was hoping to farm some damage on those 2 battleships over there, but oh no, first the Venezia pops up, and then the Harugumo, who immediately smokes up, thinking, oh shit, that's a little hairier than I thought it would be. But of course, the Worcester, like most Tier 10 cruisers, is equipped with radar. Now, this is a fully Tier 10 match. Every ship on both teams is Tier 10. So it might seem like that Harugumo just made a terrible decision, because chances were any cruiser he ran into would be a radar cruiser. He knew the Grey Ghost was here, and then he forgot that smoke ain't going to work against a radar, laddie. But I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that the Harugumo was actually intentionally baiting the Grey Ghost into using his radar, because the Harugumo has a lot of HP for Destroyer. He actually survived that encounter with more than half of it left, and now that the Grey Ghost's radar has come on a cooldown, he's able to snug back into that smokescreen and continue spamming down the friendly battleships with high explosive shells, with relative impunity. Sorry? Hanlon's Razor, what's that? I know, I'm probably giving that destroyer a wee bit too much credit, but what can I say, I'm in a good mood today. Right, the Grey Ghost flipped on his hydroacoustic search when he spotted the Harugumo coming out, so those torpedoes were never going to surprise him. And have you noticed? The Grey Ghost doesn't seem to be hitting that Kremlin with an awful lot of rounds, given how many we can see flying through the air. In fact, in one salvo, I'm pretty sure I saw 8 rounds sail straight into that Kremlin's bow, and the Grey Ghost only scored 1 hit. What's actually happening, and this is something that you see a lot if you're playing light cruisers, is that all his rear turrets are actually just plinking shots straight into that island. Visually, however, they are just travelling straight through it, so we are seeing shells that aren't actually there and aren't impacting the Kremlin. It's an old bug that wargaming seems very incapable of fixing considering how long it's been around. And it's also one of the many issues with light cruisers like the Worcester. She's incredibly situational. When you do get an island that can keep you undetected, but you can still fire over it, and there are plenty of enemies in range, and someone to do the spotting for you, then they can pump out enormous DPM numbers. And that's when the micro penises and their carriers generally come in to spoil your fun, but luckily, even though the Worcester does have one of, if not the best AA ratings in the game, and is one of very few ships that's mostly safe from carriers, they can't even spot him anyway, because there aren't any in this match. Now that Kremlin is definitely going down. I think he was trying to get the ram off on that Grosser Kurfürst. And actually, I think the Kurfürst was trying to do the same to him, but somehow they're both still alive. Although, there goes the Kremlin, that's the Grey Ghost's first kill. And there goes the Grosser Kurfürst taken out by the enemy Hindenburg. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, top-end light cruisers, highly situational. And as I've pointed out before, they don't exactly have a lot of stopping power, so it's a very good job that the Grey Ghost still has a friendly battleship over on this side of the map to draw fire from those two enemy ships. Because each of them, especially the Grosser Kurfürst, could easily kill him from this range before he could do a thing about it. In fact, anything over a 380mm, I believe, can overmatch the Worcester's bow armour like it's not even there, so while he was able to bow tank the Kremlins and just for a second the Grosser Kurfürst secondaries, their main battery guns would have torn him a new asshole. Now that Hindenburg is angled against the Montana in front of him, but that means he's presenting a perfect broadside to the Grey Ghost, so he loads up the armour piercing, pumps about 10,000 damage into him in under 15 seconds, and then switches back to the high explosive when the Hindenburg starts angling against him instead. He's also got a Des Moines on the Grey Ghost team shooting at him from the centre of the map, although I don't think angling against him is going to be enough. Nope, it's not. The Grey Ghost takes the kill. But unfortunately the Hindenburg was able to burn down the Montana into the process, so they are now down 2 battleships. I think they do have the advantage. The enemy team are down 2 battleships and a destroyer and a cruiser, and have, well, I was about to say they have none of the caps, but they've actually got that Grosser Kurfürst contesting the cap in the centre of the map, and someone who's snuck into Charlie on the far side as well, so neither of the two teams actually have any of the capture zones at the moment. Although the Grey Ghost is likely going to take Alpha here. Did you notice that the Grey Ghost just flipped his hydroacoustic search on? I'm not sure why he did that, unless he was just thinking, well, this is too good of a situation to be true. Probably about to get torpedoed by the enemy Harugumo. But look at the shots he's raining down on this Grosser Kurfürst. He is in big trouble. And even if he does the smart thing and doesn't waste his damage gun in a single fire, with the amount of high explosive rounds being pumped in his direction, I don't think it's going to matter. Oh no you didn't, Harugumo. Did you really just open fire at a Worcester with under 2,500 health remaining? Yeah, I think I was giving that guy too much credit earlier. Oh well, he's dead. Kill number 3, 125,000 damage. And even if the Grey Ghost hadn't turned on his hydro a minute ago, he'd definitely have done so now, so that Harugumo effectively just ensured that none of those torpedoes were ever going to hit anything. And the Grey Ghost didn't even need his radar for that one, although I don't think it would have had the range regardless, although he probably could have caught the Harugumo in a chase. But now the enemy team are down both of their destroyers, while the Grey Ghost team still have their 2 remaining. Yeah, I think we know how this battle's going. And with that island now between him and the enemy Grosser Kurfürst, he can start pumping more shots into low Earth orbit in order to slam back down on top of him. Oh, that was lucky actually, that Venezia almost spotted him between the gap in those 2 islands. And he has spotted the Montana, so he keeps resetting the capture progress right before the team can secure Alpha. Until out of nowhere he thinks, well fuck that, smokes up and bugs out. I'm not entirely sure why here, because if he'd have kept shooting, he could have actually prevented the capture of this zone. And he could have spotted the Grey Ghost's Worcester in here as well. And that would have been a real problem, because the Italian semi-armor piercing rounds can do a lot of damage to a light cruiser like the Worcester. It effectively is, like the Atlanta, just an oversized US destroyer. Because he decided to stealth up though, and I must say overall it probably was the right decision, he has been able to sneak into Bravo and hopefully help the Grosser first capture it. Meanwhile, up to the north, the friendly team were fought to a standstill and then actually beaten back out of the Charlie Cap, and ooh, that's a shame. The Venezia's gotten himself spotted by the friendly Zhao. Now while I think most of our reactions to that situation would be to make hay while the sun shines and get as far away from the Zhao's 8-inch guns as possible, personally if my smoke had already run out, I wouldn't be all that keen to try and go toe to toe with a Zhao and a Venezia. That thing can pump an awful lot of damage into you with AP or HE. The Venezia's solution though was apparently to turn and give broadside, and then pull a Notzer and beach himself on that island. Alright then, Captain, I think she's distracted. Open fire. And I was about to say I'm not sure whether or not the Grey Ghost has the adrenaline rush skill, but given that rate of fire, he definitely does. And look at how high those shells are arcing. That's got to bring its own form of terror with it. Because usually, the ships shooting at you are doing so at more or less a flat trajectory. See the shots coming in from the enemy Zhao. If the shots are coming down at you from the sky, it generally means it's a battlecruiser or battleship firing at you from 20 kilometers or more. And you're not getting hit all that often. But with a light cruiser like the Worcester, the shells are continuously filling the sky and raining down on you with no let-up. And even discounting the ability that gives ships like this to stealth fire from behind islands, that is not a good time for anyone coming under that hail of fire. I'm reminded of the factor of close air support during World War II, where aircraft like the American P-47 Thunderbolt or British Tempest... Oh look, he's only gonna beached himself a second time, hasn't he? But these strike aircraft weren't taking out nearly as many German tanks as they claimed they were, in fact next to none. But the simple factor of having air superiority and raining down 5-inch rockets in sortie after sortie, even if they were mostly ineffective against the German armour, just destroyed the morale of the troops who were coming under that level of fire. And in my opinion, that's the kind of effect that a ship like the Worcester brings to the table. Or the Atlanta, or the Minotaur, or the Smolensk, to name a couple of other examples. And it's almost a psychological factor, that continuous hail of fire from a ship you may not even be able to see, that just covers the sky and rains down upon you. It's actually why I decided to use the name The Grey Ghost as the title of this video. See, if the ship isn't firing at you from behind an island and remaining undetected outright, at this late stage of the game, they can be firing at you from any direction. And because of the high arcs, by the time the shells actually hit you and you realise there's someone shooting at you, they've fired 6 salvos and slunk back behind another island, and you've no idea where they'll next unload on you from. Meanwhile, you're still dealing with that player's teammates in front, to the sides, even behind you. It really is like fighting a ghost. And I bet that's what this Republic was thinking as well. Couple that with the immense height at which these shells are coming at you from. Think about how taller people are normally considered more intimidating. And to go off on a tangent here, I used to practice a martial art called HEMA, which basically means medieval European style sword fighting, or kendo but for white people. And one of the things we were taught is that if you want to intimidate someone, take a high stance. That height advantage by itself matters. Animals do it too when they puff out frills or stand on hind legs to look bigger and more threatening. And the Worcester here does it by launching shells not directly at the enemy ships, but by lobbing them into the stratosphere first, and then arcing them back down. Anyway, the Grey Ghost is now up to over 230,000 damage, and his team have wiped the floor with the enemy, who are now down to... well, it's about to be one ship remaining. Yep, there goes the Republique. They did snag back a couple of kills there in the process, but there is very little chance for the enemy Zhao now, with enemies closing in from all directions, and only 4.5 minutes of this match remaining. The Grey Ghost wisely holding fire though, as that Zhao is on almost full health, and a sub 10,000 health Worcester versus an almost full health Zhao is not a fight you're going to win one-on-one. So while none of the Grey Ghost's teammates are in a position to help him out, he's going to let that Zhao go undetected. He knows where he is and where he's heading. He's either running to the northeast trying to just stay alive, or if he wants to win, he has to come down south and try to take out first the Montana and then Grey Ghost's Worcester and move into Capture Point Bravo as quickly as possible. And if that wasn't enough anyway, not only did the Zhao pop his spotter plane, but the Grey Ghost still has that radar remaining. Yep, there he is. And actually, I think it was the friendly Montana who spotted him, because I didn't see the Grey Ghost get a spotted ribbon. Not Montana. Montana? The Montana sunk after getting burned to death by the Hindenburg almost 10 minutes ago. This is the cost of me using a video rather than a replay. The player didn't have ship names on the minimap. No, it's the Grosser Kurfürst who spotted him. Yes, the 5th Grosser Kurfürst in this battle, along with 4 Yamatos, one of which is down here, which is why the Zhao couldn't just push directly into Bravo from where he was. And I think 3 Worcesters, including the Grey Ghosts. Oh aye, welcome to single tier matchmaking, I suppose. Anyway, in the time it took me to realise that, the Grosser Kurfürst has taken all the enemy Zhao's attention. And check out this ambush. There's a double citadel and a high caliber to go with his Confederate awards, and with one last salvo, he takes out the enemy Zhao and snags a Kraken Unleashed into the process. Not quite the 250k damage club just yet, but I think the Grey Ghost was pretty happy with that result. 5 kills, 245,000 damage, over 450 hits on target. Kraken Unleashed, high caliber, Confederate, Weatherer for causing over 60,000 damage with fires, and a rare one for the Worcester, I imagine, but the Dreadnought award for taking more than 120% of his ship's starting health in damage from at least 4 different enemy ships, and still surviving the battle. Grey Ghost, you're the kind of player I want to have on my team. Someone who's not going to throw away their ship for a single kill, but who's got no interest in being passive and saving his HP for the next battle. Thank you for sending that replay in, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and given that it was one of only 3 replays I received in the last month that wasn't in a US Navy battleship, I realise that now by stating how much I regret stating how much I enjoy US battleships, I'll never get another US battleship replay again. But whatever is in store for next week, you'll have to stick around and find out. Thank you very much for watching, I hope you all enjoyed. Please leave a like if you did, browse the channel and subscribe, join the coalition forces. And always remember, keep a whiskey to hand, keep your kilt on, and I'll catch you next time. I say a wee thank you to these lads for supporting the channel on Patreon. Worldlike Complex, Tracer, Henri Gusan, Ian Anderson, Blue Fleet, Mo, Roskill, Bias Remover, Metallic Rain, Church 152, Crescent, Captain Fubar, The Britlander, Seagull Nuts, DA261, Latvian Wolf, Gisli Gadarsson and Darker Recon, you lads are raw. If you want to join them, then check out Patreon at the link in the description below to get early access to videos and much, much more.